This Snazzy Tapier production is made possible by our patrons. If you'd like to join them, head over to patreon.com/snazzytapier to get early access to new episodes, access to the members-only Discord, and our exclusive monthly newsletter. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to A Game of One's Own, a podcast all about solo and duet role-playing games. I'm your host, Maddy Searle, my pronouns are they, them, and today I'm playing Knockoff, a solo game by Banana-chan from Read Write Memory. In this game, I'll be taking on the role of Marcos, a burnt-out fast fashion designer who discovers a cursed dress design from an estate sale. Like Banana's previous game, Forgery, which I've also played in this podcast, I'll be reading text from the gamebook which describes what happens to my character, then answering prompts as the character. I'll also be creating a croquis, or fashion design, by cutting out fabric patterns and gluing them onto the croquis. Based on which fabrics I choose, Marcos' story will go down different potential paths. The text in the second person, addressing the player character as you, is written by the game designer Banana-chan and describes the situations Marcos finds himself in. Anything that I write myself will be in response to the prompts from the gamebook, and I'll be writing them in character as Marcos, using the first-person perspective. At time of release, Knockoff is crowdfunding on BackerKit, so if you enjoyed today's episode, please go and support the game and pick up a copy for yourself. You can find a link to the campaign in the show notes. But before we dive into Marcos' story, this episode includes some sensitive topics and themes. If you need more information, there are content warnings in the show notes, as there are for every episode of the show. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Marcos' many lives. When you were a little boy, you dreamed of becoming a famous fashion icon, like the designers you saw in magazines: Dapper Dan, Mugler, Willie Smith, Issey Miyake, Stephen Burrows. You would spend hours imagining yourself as the most famous black fashion designer of the decade, as famous as dressmaker Patrick A. Andrea. You would cut up magazines and draw all over them until you had your own creation. As you grew older, you saw fashion as an extension of yourself. It went beyond race, beyond gender and sexuality. Your mother was the heiress to a mustard company, but she squandered her wealth on poor business decisions. After nearly bankrupting the company, she remained steadfast in believing she did everything right. Your father, who married into wealth, was supportive of your mother, but saw you as a scapegoat. He made you believe that your mother couldn't focus on her business because she was busy raising you, which was enough to convince her to send you to a predominantly white boarding school at the age of 12. You felt out of place and small, hiding who you truly are from the children and teachers around you, when you already stood out so much as the little black boy who likes to play dress-up with dolls. When you turned 17, you told your mother that you were gay. She was in denial, telling you it was a phase. One day, she always said, you will find a beautiful wife who will look after you and bear you beautiful children. But you definitely don't want children. You can barely take care of yourself, and the thought of ever holding a baby makes you want to faint. After you graduated high school, your parents revealed they were spiraling in debt. This time, they blamed your boarding school tuition, despite the fact it was actually your mother's spending that put them in that situation. You decided to cut ties with your parents and move to New York City to attend the Fashion Institute of Technology, FIT, an affordable and renowned state college, the same school that designer Arthur McGee attended before opening his very own store in St. Mark's. You were full of hope. Years later, you have a desk job at one of the biggest fast fashion companies, Imprint. Your job is dull and creatively unfulfilling. You spend your days searching the internet for shirts for suburban white moms, crudely known as mama merch at the office, or high-end boutiques, and copying the graphics for Imprint's product line. But you've been here for 3 years, debt-free, with reliable healthcare and a good annual bonus. You shouldn't be complaining. But your own designs have been ignored by the company's leaders several times, and your co-worker has taken credit for your ideas. You still wonder if you will ever be the famous fashion designer you dreamed of becoming as a child. Let's get to know you a bit more. Answer these questions. What was the last design you copied for Imprint? A dark burgundy shirt with a chalk drawing design, like a restaurant blackboard, depicting a pair of wine glasses. Underneath, the word sommelier was written in ostentatious, looping handwriting. Just looking at it made me feel like my brain was rusting and disintegrating into scrap. What was your last original design? An asymmetrical maxi dress in rich purple, with a bold black and white sleeve on the left side. It takes inspiration from 60s mod styles with its clean, sharp lines, but it's more formal and luxurious. I thought it would look perfect if the model were wearing a black and white bangle on their right arm to echo the sleeve. Aside from the security of your day job, what do you think holds you back from reaching your true potential? Even though I know my designs are good, whenever I try and speak up or defend myself, I just clam up. My throat gets dry and I start to sweat, and I can't stop worrying that people are going to laugh at me or even just ignore me. I know rationally that I need to put myself out there, be confident, but somehow I always feel like a terrified kid, stuck on the outside, looking in. What do you have to prove to the world? I have to prove that I've got what it takes to become a respected fashion designer, someone whose designs are iconic and beautiful and emblematic of a new era. I have to prove that I can be bold, innovative, that I'm worthy of standing alongside my heroes in the fashion industry. It hasn't happened yet, but that doesn't mean it never will, right? Imprint. It's a Wednesday. You exit the elevator doors into a 3-floored wood-panelled office with walls reaching up to a bright skylight. This building used to be home to the infamous Oiseau Bleu nightclub before it was abandoned. Imprint gutted out all the cum-stained sofas and disco lights, replacing them with chic yet corporate sterility. You nod at the receptionist, who gives you a chuckle, watching you struggle while carrying several bolts of fabric and a dirty old piece of canvas you found in a dumpster on the way to work. When you finally make it past the plant walls, the kombucha bar, and the judgmental looks from the sales department, you get to your desk, where you drop everything in your arms. You parse out the items, starting with the painting. Your eyes study its burned edges, as if it survived a fire. The only image that didn't crumble into ash is the body of a pale, winged person, with no discernible genitalia. Its head had been destroyed in the flames. You found the thing as you were leaving your apartment. Its frayed canvas fluttered in the wind, catching your eye as if it were waving at you. Something about it is unsettling, but you were drawn to it. What does it remind you of? It reminds me of weird medieval marginalia, those little doodles that monks did in the margins of manuscripts, probably because they were bored, horny, or both. But it also reminds me of that feeling I always get when I'm in a large, empty room, and I could swear that someone is watching me. What's that? Your nosy coworker peeks his head over your shoulder, breaking you out of your trance. What do you hate most about Xander? Xander has absolutely no self-awareness. He'll complain about people being rude or arrogant or unoriginal when earlier that day he has committed at least one, if not all, of those offences himself. Ew. Xander wrinkles his nose. That thing smells like an ashtray. Before you can try to explain, Xander interrupts. Never mind what it's for. I'm pretty sure that we both know that I'll be the one saving both our asses yet again. Unlike you, I have all my other designs ready, so I could focus on Fashion Week. You try to come up with a witty response, but it's always like this. You can't think of a good response until hours later when you're angrily scrolling through your phone. Not everyone has the creative genius like I do. Xander continues. Why don't you continue going through Etsy and still some mama merch looks there while I do the high-level hard work, You know Adelaide won't look at your work twice. Ironic, as he's the one who's taken credit for your work in the past. Despite your best efforts, though, it seemed like the managers and directors won't listen to your ideas, unless it's coming out of Xander's mouth. You're actually not quite sure if the directors know that you're a part of the design team. What do you want to say to Xander? I've actually been working on a brand new design that I think really fits what Adelaide's been looking for. Just as you open your mouth with your response, he's already at his desk, his large headphones placed over his head, covering the olive branch tattoos on his ears. Though the headphones seem to do a good job at cancelling any noise around him, they don't seem to do a very good job of keeping his dance music contained in the cans. You will just have to suffer through the Eurobeats until you can find your own headphones. Your anger tenses up around your chest, making you curl your fingers into fists. You take your Marlboro lights out of your jacket pocket and make your way to the office balcony through a set of tall French glass doors. Smoking is back in fashion now, but it never left you. You sit down on a brown bench and watch the gossiping pigeons coo at one another while you light a cigarette. What do you wish you could have done differently since starting your job here at Imprint? I wish I could have pushed harder for my own designs and stopped Xander from taking credit for my work, but that's all way easier said than done. And I wish I'd stamped on his headphones when he went to the bathroom. You take a deep inhale before releasing a long exhale. This is cheaper than yoga. You feel your phone buzz in your pocket, and you see it's a text message from your mother. You glance at the first few words of the text before deleting it. I should have had a daughter. You take another drag from the cigarette before putting it out. You walk back to your desk and throw the dirty canvas into the wastebasket by your feet and send a text message to Son. Son and the Stars. An actor is wiping their tears with their knuckles, like a toddler who has just broken their favourite toy. It's just minutes before opening night at the theatre, and you're fixing a ripped seam in the actor's dress. At FIT, you remember reading about Arthur McGee. He dropped out of college, scrounged up everything he could to start his own business, and then went on to dress celebrities on Broadway in the 1960s. You feel a kinship with his story. You attended FIT, and here you are now, dressing actors backstage. But this isn't Broadway, and you're no Arthur McGee. Still, you work your magic, carefully sewing the fabric until it looks like nothing had ever been torn. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have looked so clumsy. The actor dabs their eyes with a tissue. Oh God, what if Venus sees me like this? Venus is an influencer who does... You're not actually sure what she does. You just know she posts videos and pictures of herself, and now she's trying to break into acting. You place your hands on the actor's shoulders and look them in the eyes, assuring them that everything is fine. How do you calm them down? It's totally okay, honestly. I've seen way worse, and done way worse. Once I spilled half a bottle of red wine on one of my dresses when I was at college, the night before our exhibition. The apartment stank of vinegar and detergent for weeks afterwards. The actor nods and takes a deep breath, before raising their chest and strutting towards the stage. The show, from what you understand, is a modern hip-hop rendition of Pygmalion set in Hollywood, of all places. You don't really understand it, but at least it gives you a creative outlet and a small bit of pay. Nice work, you hear Son's voice behind you as you spin around, and she gives you a wink. Son is a tall, lanky production manager, who, like many other production managers, needs to constantly be busy, or else she wouldn't know where to put her arms. She's always dressed in all black, which is appropriate for her work at the theatre, but even when she's not backstage, you've only ever seen her wear plain black clothes, despite your best efforts in trying to inject some colour to her wardrobe. Even as roommates, you have been unable to sneak in a chemise or two stolen from the samples floor at work. When you first met Son, she introduced herself with an exasperated, I know my first name's weird, my parents are hippies, please don't think I'm into astrology or any of that bullshit. And that was enough of an explanation for you. She seemed to reject anything that resembled the 1970s. With her left hand wrapped around a can of Spite energy drink, with a small bottle of vodka tilted upside down into the hole, and her right hand tightly gripping a cell phone. Her gaze was one of a tired workaholic who lived to keep the theatre together. Without her, everything would fall apart. You sometimes wonder if it's intentional on her part to keep her working knowledge away from the rest of the stage management team. How did you meet Son? When I was at FIT, I went to the same hipster coffee shop at the same time every weekday, and Son was usually there around the same time on Mondays. One day she handed me a flyer for her theatre, and we got talking about costume design. She was just so easy to talk to. No bullshit, no fake smiles, and so much passion for theatre. What does Son usually make you for breakfast when it's her turn? Son makes incredible crepes. She always has hers with lemon and sugar, but I usually go for an unholy quantity of Nutella. So, what's going on at work? Xander giving you a hard time again? Son asks, her eyes peering onto the stage while talking to you. What work horror story do you tell Son? Xander tried to convince Adelaide that he gave me the idea for my new smock blouse design, despite the fact that he told me last week he wouldn't touch smocking with a 10-foot pole. He said it was twee. Oh God, I wish that creative work was better. I don't just mean the pay, I mean, it would be real nice to get some sort of credit, or just a thank you. Any sort of gratitude, Son continues, but it sounds like she's talking more about herself than about you. As she continues her spiel, your mind wanders, trying to come up with something for Fashion Week. It has to be edgy, but still palatable. Something that pushes the boundaries, but not too much that it would prevent buyers from being interested. What are some of your initial ideas? Maybe I could do a sort of modified sack dress design, but showing off more skin? Or I could use some kind of translucent material and have a sort of catsuit underneath. Or is that too much? I'd love to incorporate geometric patterns somewhere too. Hey friend. Sun looks at you with concern, noticing you scowling at nothing. You okay? What do you tell her? Yeah, I'm okay. Just trying to come up with some ideas for Fashion Week. I can't figure out the balance between letting my freak flag fly and actually making something that someone would buy. Listen, you're overworked and sleep deprived. You need a break to get those creative juices going. She pops the tab on a spiked energy drink. You shame her for drinking that shit so late at night, telling her that she's going to have a heart attack if she doesn't slow down on those things. You sound like my mother. She rolls her eyes as she takes a sip. Venus is the new brand ambassador for Spite, so it can't be bad for you. She's such a health freak. Besides, they're sponsoring the show. Free is cheaper than $1 bottles of water. How do you respond? I think there are plenty of brand ambassadors who don't give a shit if the products they promote are bad for you or not. But hey, knock yourself out. Or keep yourself awake till 3 a.m, more likely. As the show ends, the two of you start cleaning up, arranging everything backstage so it's ready for the next show. When the adrenaline finally dies down, Sun asks, "You want to go grab a drink at Yes Please?" My treat for being such a bitch today. Yes Please. Yes Please is a dimly lit speakeasy, hidden in the back of a bodega, behind a freezer door. The bartender carries with her 2 Michelin stars and serves extravagant cocktails made with smokers and chisels. Photographs of perfectly framed bacon, egg and cheese sandwiches, candy ale snacks and Lucy's hang on the walls to fit with the bodega theme. It's clear that this place gets covered by a lot of food magazines and social media influencers, but somehow it still remains almost empty. You sit in a booth fashioned to look like a shelving unit next to a stack of canned spaghetti. Next to you, Sun and Brady are laughing at an inside joke you're not privy to. New couples are so annoying. You have set a secret timer for yourself, counting down the days until Sun breaks up with Brady. So far, you're 4 weeks into the 3-month deadline. Jay sits on the other side of you. You can tell he's trying to come up with something to say. You met Jay at a fashion show in February, during the last New York Fashion Week, and he somehow weaseled his way into your friend group. Anytime drinks are involved, he's there. What are you drinking? I ordered a bee's knees, a cocktail made with gin, lemon juice and honey. Its citrus sharpness is keeping me alert. For now, at least. Sun finally swings her attention over to you. Brady and I were thinking about getting a group together to take a trip upstate somewhere. Not the Hamptons, Brady assures you with a tease of teeth. You give a mocking smile at him. You know that part of the reason why Sun is with him is because he's loaded. You wouldn't doubt if he actually had family in the Hamptons, judging by his tech bro chic. What annoys you the most about Brady? He clearly doesn't care about Sun's work. Whenever she talks about the theatre, he changes the subject as soon as he can, and he never asks her any questions about it. He'd much rather extol the supposed virtues of generative AI than learn about his girlfriend's career. He turns up to rehearsals and performances now and then, but he spends most of the time looking at his phone. You remember catching Brady flirting with Venus at one of the rehearsals when Sun wasn't watching, but you never told Sun. She seems happy, and you didn't want to ruin it. I've always wanted to go upstate, Jay chimes in. I've never been outside the city. Sun gives you a look as if to say, we didn't invite him. Sun takes Brady by the hand and walks him over to the bar. Anyone down for seconds? I want to try the sweet and sour mimosa. Before you can respond, the couple leaves you alone with Jay, so you can be the bearer of bad news. How do you respond to Jay? My college roommate once dragged me on a hike upstate, and by the end I was a broken husk. Insect bites, cuts, bruises. I was not designed to be out in nature. What does Jay look like? Jay has quick, curious eyes, a sprinkling of freckles, and curly light brown hair. He has a slim build and usually wears a plain white t-shirt and jeans with a bomber jacket. Why do you think Jay hangs out with you? He seems genuinely interested in fashion, and probably likes having someone to talk to who shares his interests. He hasn't mentioned other friends to me, so he might also be a bit lonely. How's prep for September? Jay asks, trying to make conversation. I know you must be real busy with Fashion Week coming up. Just as you're about to answer him, you feel your phone buzzing in your pocket. You instinctively swipe to answer it when you realise that it's your father calling you. You curse under your breath and excuse yourself from Jay to sit in another booth a few feet away.
Marcos?
Your dad tends to speak as if making a statement of disappointment.
Your mother's been trying to contact you. You need to come back to Connecticut and stop all of this fashion business. That line of work isn't for real men.
What do you say to him before hanging up? Sorry, Dad, I'm out with friends right now. I can't really talk. Speak later. As you walk back to your booth, Son and Brady return from the bar. Each hand has a drink in a different type of glass. Brady was just talking about Venus. Son chuckles. She stops as soon as she observes the resentment painted on your face and quickly places the drinks down on the table. Did your mother call? She catches herself and realises now is not the time and place. We can talk later. As you sit back down, Jay puts a hand into his pocket and pulls out a flyer. I know you probably already have Fashion Week all figured out, but there's an estate sale happening. I heard it was an older lady who was somehow affiliated with the fashion industry in her heyday. Maybe we can go together. Jay has a hopeful demeanour, trying to impress you enough so you can let him into your circle. You take the flyer and inspect it. Estate sale. June 5th, 6th, 9th, 10th. 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Paintings, jewellery, antiques, designer brand clothing, furniture such as polished wood dining tables and more. Free wine. 17 Waverly Place, New York. NY 10001. What makes you want to go? There might be some interesting vintage designer clothes there that could offer some inspiration for new designs. And I'm more than a little curious to see what this lady's house looks like inside. Son takes a sip of her Prosecco cocktail. That looks like it could be fun. I could use an excuse to get day drunk. Ugh, sounds boring. Brady cringes. I mean, I have to work. He makes a sad face, emphasized to the point that you want to gag, though you are relieved that he can't make it. Son wraps her arms around Brady, pretending to soothe him like a baby. He definitely got the attention he was looking for. The night ends with one more round of cocktails and conversations about work and new podcasts to listen to. But your mind is elsewhere, still rattled by the call with your father. The estate sale. You don't even need to check the map on your phone to know you're at the right place. It's only 9:30 a.m, and the city's buzzards are already leaving the doors carrying Renaissance-style paintings and antique blue and white floral vases, ready to resell the items for double the amount they paid for them, if not more. You stand outside the brownstone, close to the bird-shit-stained cement stairwell, when Jay peeks his head out of the door, a huge smile across his face. He waves you inside. Son's inside too! There's so much good stuff here, you're gonna love it! How are you feeling about going to the estate sale? I'm mildly hopeful that something interesting will turn up, but it's a bit too early to deal with Jay's boundless enthusiasm. I should have got a coffee on the way. As you enter through the brownstone doors, you are greeted by a blonde middle-aged woman who looks like she's been crying for days. She's wearing Giorgio Armani. You recognise the black draped Milano stitch from a fall collection. It's a practical and comfortable dress, perfect for someone who attends client meetings. You can find the bubble wrap in the back for the 11 o'clock delivery. She sniffles as she waves you in, leaving you confused. She probably thinks you're a hired mover. Before you correct her, she turns her attention back to a man who has the same strawberry blonde hair as her, leading you to believe they might be related. His demeanour is the opposite of the woman's, as he attempts to suppress a grin from crawling onto his face, without much luck. He's wearing Dior. It's an expensive suit that's worth half your bi-weekly paycheck, but it's not Ferragamo. What do their clothes tell you about them? They're wealthy enough to buy designer clothes as a matter of course, but don't have enough interest in fashion to choose more distinctive pieces. Those are Ruth Thornton's kids, Jay whispers to you, confirming what you were wondering. Ruth was an art dealer. My uncle's on this weird listserv that sends notifications about rich people's estate sales. He told me about this place after he was placed under house arrest. Hey, bestie! Son interrupts the conversation and beelines over to you with a hug, carefully avoiding any spillage from the 2 plastic glasses of white wine in her hands. Jay spreads his arms out for a hug as well, but Son turns her back to him and hands you a glass. She loops her free arm around yours and walks to another room in the house. This place is incredible. I never thought I'd actually step foot in one of these. A literal house in the middle of the city. Sure beats our tiny apartment. You nod in agreement, your eyes scanning the delicate crown moulding flourishing on the walls like overgrown vines in the next room. Books are stacked on the floor, forming small towers with their spines faced towards you. A group of mannequins congregate on the other end of the space about 40 feet away. What do you hope to find? I want to find something off the beaten path. Maybe something from a designer that people have mostly forgotten, or a style that no one really remembers, but could be ripe for a big comeback with a modern twist. Holy shit, look at these Annabelle dolls. Son points at an antique cabinet next to a steeple of books. Several porcelain-faced dolls smile at you as you pass, with a perceived maliciousness. Promise me you won't buy any of those cursed things. What do you say to Son? Fuck no, but not because they might be cursed. They just don't fit in with my room's decor. You've always had questionable taste, is all I'm saying. Son sneers. Jay, still behind you, comments, I definitely won't be buying anything. That one looks like Chucky. Son rolls her eyes and you hold back a chuckle. You get closer to the crowd of mannequins, some stripped naked by the vultures, leaving just a couple of Michael Kors dresses, the wealthy's version of fast fashion. They are also completely useless to you. Jay moves between some mannequins and pretends to dance with one of them, making you laugh. The moment is lost when he trips over a plastic model, which dominoes into a stack of books. Jay, Son scolds him. Stop fucking around, you're going to get us in trouble. It was an accident, son. Jay finally stands up for himself. It wouldn't have happened if you didn't throw yourself onto a plastic boyfriend. Do you have a problem with me? You've been like this ever since we met. As the two bicker, your eyes focus on a sketchbook that swept its way across the marble floor from the collapsed pillar of books. The voices around you are muted as you kneel down and lift up the vintage leather-bound book. It has mustard yellow paint smeared across the cover, reminding you of your mother. You peel open the leather and flip through the pages to reveal a croquis. The touch of the book makes you believe that it originates from the 1930s, but the model is dressed in such a modern look. Possibly from the 1990s? It feels familiar, like seeing an old friend after being away for so long. A small elation fills your lungs and throat when you see the signature. Patrick A. Andrea. What is your happiest memory from childhood? When I was about 11, a cousin of my mother was getting married, and we had to get outfits for the wedding. I had my own little tailored suit. The tailor who was fitting the suit showed me how he did all the measurements, how the different linen pieces would fit together to make the final garment. He even took a suggestion of mine for an embroidered design on the breast pocket. Before long, I was a frequent visitor to the tailor shop, spending evenings and weekends surrounded by threads and fabric. Why does the design remind you of that memory? The design also has a breast pocket, with an eerily similar embroidered design on it, but much more stylized than the one I had come up with aged 11. You are snapped out of your trance when a man's voice alerts you. Is there something I can help you with? It's Ruth's son. No, we're just browsing. Son comes with a save. We're just about to leave, actually. You stop her and ask the son how much the book is, already placing your credit card into his hands. He makes up a price of $100, but you don't care. You'll pay any cost. Concept. You're in the solitude of your room after Son and Jay settled their quarrel at the estate sale. They moved on quickly, as most New York fights do, and you ended the day with a quick drink at a dingy bar by Washington Square Park. Jay left to wrap up some work at, you forget where he works, and Son decided to stay over at Brady's Williamsburg duplex, leaving you alone for the night. Your room, upon first inspection, is neat, with all your fabrics, shears and chalk placed in clear boxes from the box store. Every container is labelled with a black felt-tip pen, but inside those boxes, everything is stored haphazardly. Broken blades mingle with dollar store scissors, and pieces of chalk the length of a penny, too precious to throw away, sit in the periphery of the chalk box. Behind the closet doors are puddles of shirts you lowballed from Grailed, fallen from their hangers, too tired to make their way back up, and an old discarded photograph of a cute white boy you used to have a crush on, Elijah. A headless, armless mannequin stands straight by the window. You hold the sketchbook down on the page you want with a stray stapler and a handheld game console, like a pinned butterfly. Its spine is stretched out, but not enough to cause any damage. Earlier on the subway, you took some time to flip through the other pages, but they were all empty. The only one that had anything on it was the one that you had opened when you first found the book. You open a drawer filled with more mess and take out a pen to make notes. Before you close it, you spot a pink raver bracelet with bead letters that form the word bestie on it. It was from Elijah, who shared your love of fashion. You smoked your first joint with him, got drunk for the first time with him on a half bottle of cheap vodka, and he was your first kiss. But he was more interested in another boy at the time. And when you cut ties with your parents before going to college, you left Elijah behind too. While there were things he understood better than anybody about you, there were holes in your relationship, things he would never see because the people around him embraced him. But for you, it's a different story. What's a memory of Elijah you still think about? One summer, Elijah and I snuck into the local swimming pool after dark and dived in fully clothed. We'd probably seen some teen movie that gave us the idea. The moment I still remember is when we held hands and span around in the water like we were dancing. What was your favourite thing about him? When I was upset by something my parents had said, he could always tell, but he never pushed me to talk about it. He always knew exactly what to say to make me smile and forget about all the bullshit at home. What was something that he did continuously that made you upset? Elijah got the fact that my home life was tough, but he never could quite understand that my parents would never fully accept me. He'd assumed that we'd make up after a fight or that they'd come around eventually, that deep down they were proud of me, but I knew that wasn't true. You take a breath, releasing your grasp of the memory. You look at the empty page of the old sketchbook across from the croquis, worn with time, and decide to put the pen to paper. As you work on the design, what do you think about? Elijah, and how things could have ended with him. You wrap up with the last few notes with a clear idea of what your concept will be, using the croquis you found, when your phone vibrates on your bed. You lift it up to see a notification. It's from Elijah, the same Elijah that you remember from so many years ago. He followed you on social media and sent you a private message. Hey, I heard you moved to New York. It's been too long. You click on his profile to see several photos of him smiling. Some of them are of him at the country club he seemingly now frequents with several other Hampton gays. As you scroll further down his profile, you see a post that reads, "Back to being single, I guess," from a couple of months ago. As you continue to scroll, out of the corner of your eye, you swear you saw the mannequin by your window turn to face you. Old loves. You spill all the tea to Sun, of course, without holding back a single detail as the two of you mirror your phone onto the television to get a better look at your high school unrequited loves account. As you scroll down, Sun tells you to stop every so often to get a better look at the picture, stands up to say, to herself, and then sits back down and motions for you to continue scrolling. You're not entirely sure what her thoughts are on Elijah, but you're having fun looking at your could-have-beens photos with your bestie. What do you regret the most about your relationship with Elijah? I wish I'd had the courage to tell him everything, about all the ways my family had fucked me up, but at the time it was too painful to talk about openly. I wish I'd been honest with him about the ways that they blamed me for their own financial problems, the ways they wished I was different. It would have hurt, like opening a barely healed wound. But then he'd probably have understood, and I wouldn't need to feel like I was always hiding something from him. Hey, what's that picture there? Sun points at an image of a pink bracelet with the word bestie on it, just like the one that you have. You explained to her that he'd made matching ones when you were teens, and he gave one of them to you. And here I thought I was your best friend. Sun pretends to sulk. Kidding. But looking at the date, this was posted recently, like the last few days. What's the caption say? You enlarge the photo to reveal the text underneath saying, "Sometimes I still think of you. I wonder what your life is like now. What you're doing, who your new friends are. Do you still think of me?" Marcos? Sun shoots her eyes over to you. He's totally into you. You wonder if you should comment or like the picture, or if that would be too obvious, too strange. You don't want to come off as being too intense. But the picture is intense, right? As your mind races, Sun looks at her phone and groans, "Ugh, Brady wants us to meet him at some Web3 thing. Can you come with me, please? He said there would be free food and drinks." Despite your best judgment, you agree, and within an hour you find yourself at a shared office space, sipping single malt scotch, surrounded by men in Patagonia down puffer vests that cover their Target brand shirts. But your mind is elsewhere, and you're on autopilot as you nod and shake hands. You're still preoccupied with what your tactics should be with Elijah. Should you play it cool or be blunt? What do you think is your best strategy? I think I should start off casual, invite him to reminisce about our high school days. No pressure, just a couple of drinks. Then, when I've seen him in person and can hopefully get a sense of how he really feels, I can finally open up to him and tell him how much I've missed him. Sun snaps you out of your trance when she introduces you to yet another puffer-vested man. This is Darren. He's Venus's agent. You know, the influencer? Ah, fashion designer. The man smiles. So creative. You must be pretty bored out here with all of us fintech consultants. Before you can ask what fintech means, Brady jumps in. That means finance technology. He wears a smug grin across his face that you want to punch so badly. But you probably knew that already. Don't let me interrupt. Y'all want a drink? Scotch? Come on, babe. Let's go get some more drinks. He dances away from the conversation as quickly as he joined it, leaving you with Daryl? Dominic? So, tell me a little bit about what you do. The man is definitely interested in what you have to say. How do you sell yourself? I'm part of the design team at Imprint, but I do a lot of costume design for the theatre as well. And I'm constantly coming up with new ideas that would probably be a bit too risque for Imprint. I'm really inspired by 60s fashion, but I like to take ideas from a bunch of different eras and try to combine them to make something really innovative. It's that tension between old and new that I really love. In the middle of your conversation, a scream breaks the hum of chatter, turning everyone's attention to the bar. You turn to see Brady on the floor, his hands grasping around his neck as if someone was strangling him. His face turns greyer by the second, until a tech bro forces him upright and tries to Heimlich him to normalcy. Eventually, Brady takes a deep gasp of air and faints to the ground. Within a few minutes, paramedics arrive and take Brady away in an ambulance. Sun decides to ride with him to keep him company, leaving you alone with the rest of the partygoers. The man turns to you, somewhat in shock. Wow, I can't believe that just happened. Are you close with Brady? How do you respond? He's dating my roommate. I've not known him for long, but I hope he's okay. The man shakes his head and continues, Well, listen, I'm going to give your contact info to my client. I'm sure she would love to work with you. How do you respond? That would be amazing. Thank you so much. Sounds like a great opportunity. Cloth to cut. You're alone in your room again, flipping through the pages of the sketchbook. You find it odd that none of the other pages are filled, and you wonder how Patrick A. Andrea would have gotten a hold of the book. Maybe he purchased it, or it was passed down to him. He passed away in the early 2000s in his 50s. Was he friends with Ruth? You had never heard of Andrea hanging out with a Ruth before. Perhaps she was a part of New York's underground club scene? Did it belong to Ruth originally, and she asked him to draw it in the 1990s? No, there's no way. This thing is ancient, and even if Ruth was a teenager when she first purchased it, that would have made her over 100 years old when she died. You quickly Google how long humans live, diving down a rabbit hole on mortality, until you get a notification that New York's local micro-celebrity, Venus, has messaged you. Hi, I heard you make cool stuff. I was wondering if you would be open to styling me one day, please. The W in please makes you cringe a little, but you do your best to keep it together when formulating a response. Perhaps you can model the new dress that you're making. How do you think Venus found out about you? It must have been that guy at the Web3 event. So he wasn't just telling me what I wanted to hear. That's a pleasant surprise. What is the most polite way that you can accept this new client? Thanks so much for thinking of me, Venus. I'd love to work with you. Do you have any style influences or ideas you'd like me to know about? Or would you like me to surprise you? You wrap up the conversation with Venus and drag the mannequin by your window closer to you. You look at the different fabric samples you've purchased and compare them with the old sketch of the croquis and your notes. You start cutting the fabrics, pinning them on the mannequin's cloth body. The action of cutting and pinning the slivers of cloth remind you of when you were a child, pretending you were a fashion designer. Again, what was the happiest memory of your childhood? Spending hours at the tailor shop, cutting, pinning, sewing, drawing, even just helping to mend a frayed hem after school was soothing, almost meditative. What was the final straw that made you cut ties with your parents? My mother invited a girl over for dinner, clearly trying to set us up on a date. I was so embarrassed and refused to come out of my room. My mother and I ended up having a screaming match through the door, which the girl could almost certainly hear from the dining room downstairs. I say a screaming match. It was my mother who was screaming. About my expensive boarding school tuition, about how rude I was being to her guest, about how disappointed she was. I packed a bag later that night. You remember things weren't always easy, but you're proud of how far you've come. Though what you're doing right now isn't exactly what you want to do, it still beats living under your parents' roof. As you work on the design, what do you think about? What my parents might be thinking of my life choices. You didn't hear all of the notifications from Jay while you were working on your croquis. He has invited you to a family gathering in Queens. I would really appreciate it if you could make it. I'd owe you one. You contemplate going before a series of more texts. Please, please, please. I'll buy you drinks. You take a deep breath and agree to Jay's request. You take a look at the mannequin, and even though it doesn't have a head, you can feel it mocking you. Familial ties. You enter through the rooftop entrance to be greeted by a large family gathering. Birthday banners and Christmas lights are streamed across poles that sprout out of the concrete ground. Partygoers mingle, telling inside jokes and throwing their heads back in laughter. It feels familiar, nostalgic, yet you've only experienced this a handful of times with your own family before your mother decided to send you away. The smells of roast pork and fried food fill your nostrils as you meander through the crowd, trying to find Jay. You see him, already with a plastic cup of wine in each hand. He hands you one and gleams. I wasn't sure you'd make it. How do you respond? It's nice having a break from pre-Fashion Week madness. Thanks for inviting me. A shorter woman cheerfully interrupts your conversation. You must be Marcos. Jay has told us so much about you. It's so good that he's making such cool friends in the fashion industry. You know my boy Jay. Mom, he's not going to want to hear. Jay starts. Jay's mom hushes him. My boy is the star of the family. He's the first one to graduate from college and... Mom... And he has a whole article written about him in Vogue Singapore and Vogue Mexico. You didn't know this fact about Jay. In fact, you had no idea he was a designer. It was just a small article. I make small pieces. I don't work for a big company or anything like Marcos does. His humbleness annoys you. Well, I'm just proud of Jay for making such good friends. His mom embraces you. And you're now a part of our family. A tenderness you've never experienced with your own mother. How do you respond to Jay's mom's hug? At first, I freeze up, my arms stiff, my hands awkwardly splayed open. But after a second, I lean into the hug. And for just a moment, I imagine that she's my mother. Jay walks you to a corner of the roof, so you can have a quiet moment. I just wanted to say thank you for coming to this party. It's my aunt's birthday, and I know it's not the cool fashion parties that you're probably used to. I don't come from a wealthy family, but we're always here for one another. This is the opposite of what you've known with your own family. It's warm and generous. A kindness and acceptance that you've only read about in books or seen in movies. What do you say to Jay? It's lovely. Thanks again for the invite. I don't really see my family all that much, so it's nice to see that your family has your back. He smiles at you. I'm going to get another drink. Don't let my family talk you into doing anything you don't want to. Someone suggested karaoke earlier, but you really don't have to sing. What are your thoughts on karaoke? I love karaoke, but only with trusted friends who promise they won't make fun of me for my earnest, drunken renditions of Motown classics. As Jay wanders off, leaving you with the pigeons, one of Jay's cousins hands you an empty plate and motions towards the buffet table. You don't have anything to eat, they chuckle. Jay can be such a bad host sometimes. You nod and carry the plate over to the table, where the sweet and savoury smells linger on your skin. It looks like every family member brought a dish, and you feel a pang of guilt for not offering to bring something. There's mac and cheese, a whole roast pig, spam musubi, several different flavours of cake, and all kinds of deep-fried foods. You spot a squeeze bottle of Aubert-branded mustard, your mother's maiden name. You navigate around the bottle and try to find something to fill your plate. What do you put on your plate? I take a generous helping of roast pork, some curly fries, and green salad lathered in dressing. When I come back for seconds later, I'll probably nab some of the generously frosted chocolate cake. As you dish some of the food onto your plate, the Christmas lights around you flicker. No one else around you seems to notice, but it feels like time slows down and the sounds become muted. It still looks like everyone is talking and having a good time, but you're in a bubble on your own. You set your plate down and see several fingers crawl out of the mouth of the roast pig, stretching out towards you to form a hand. You're frozen in terror, while everything else around you is frozen in time.
Do not be afraid. I am your ally. I hope you enjoyed your present. It is just a taste of what's to come, as long as you continue to create your peace.
The hand reaches out to you, expecting you to shake it. You accidentally knock a stray red plastic cup over, spilling the punch. You panic, scrambling for the napkins on the table. Your gaze follows your arm that reaches out at the paper towels, realizing that you have a navy blue Bulgari watch. Why does this excite you? I've had my eye on this watch for so long, but can never afford it on my current salary. I've imagined myself wearing it to some fancy event at least a dozen times. You look down where the punch would have spilled against your shirt, and you realize you're wearing Balenciaga from shoulder to toe. The families around you have stopped what they're doing and are smiling at you with adoration. I'm so proud of you. Jay's mom touches you on the arm. You would make any mother proud. I mean it. Why do you want this relationship with your own mother so badly? My mother has always wanted me to be someone I'm not. It's always been a choice between pretending and keeping her happy, or being myself and making her angry. I just want her to see me as I am and accept that. I know that plenty of parents can manage that in the real world, not just on TV. Why can't she? Jay's family crowds around you, and false memories begin to flood your mind. Relaxing summer days at the beach with Jay's parents, Jay's uncle sneaking you a sip of tequila at a wedding celebration, Jay's grandmother teaching you how to decorate a cake. Fast forward to the future. Jay's family watches from the audience as you win your first Council of Fashion Designers of America award. Moments later, they are wiping tears from their eyes as you kiss Elijah after exchanging vows. This is who you could be. What makes you hesitant to touch the hand, but you shake it anyway? Something about the hand feels so wrong, like it's been cut and pasted from a different world into this one. There's no guarantee that the visions it's shown me will actually come true, but I've wanted to be a part of a real family for so long. I can't risk losing this opportunity. What do you say to the hand? If you're telling the truth, then it's a deal. As soon as you touch the hand, time unfreezes. Everyone is back to where they were, and the lights stop flickering. You look to see the hand you shook. In its place is a beer bottle. The memories that you had are like sitcom episodes you remember watching, instead of real lived experiences. Oh, I didn't know you drank beer. Jay pats you on the back. Hey everyone, let's hear it from Marcos, to the best fashion designer in the city. The entire family applauds, erupting in cheer. Pattern. You're back in your room, tracing a finger down the croquis in the sketchbook. It's been a strange series of days, but somehow it also has felt energizing. You've been texting Venus back and forth to keep your mind off things, and she's excited for the new dress you're making for her, as you send her progress photos. You didn't intend to create this outfit for her, but somehow it all seems to work out. You told your manager and the PR team that your strategy was to create the next look using Venus as the model. At first, they were hesitant. What's the angle here? Usually, there are a lot of hoops to jump through in order to onboard an influencer at Imprint. But after showing off a quick presentation and pitching your concept, everyone involved gave you their stamp of approval. Now it's time for you to get back to work. You've figured out the fabrics you want to use and just need to pick a pattern. As you flip through your pages of fabrics, you hear a familiar voice creep into the edges of the room.
Marcos.
You look around and don't see anyone there, but they whisper again.
Marcos.
You turn to the mannequin, and for some reason, it makes sense to speak with it. What do you say to the mannequin? What are you? Did you make this happen? You feel like you must be dreaming. Or maybe you're losing it.
No, you're not losing it.
The voice continues.
You called for me, and I answered. Think of me as your muse. Whatever your heart desires, I will bring to life. The only thing I ask is that you finish me and spread my legacy.
Somehow, you believe the voice. You nod and continue your work. As you work on your design, what do you think about? My desire to express myself without people judging me. As you finish your work for the day, you see the dress take shape. You sit back and admire the gown. As you do, a shadow grows behind the mannequin, forming arms and legs, wings, and a head beyond the torso.
You are halfway there.
The shadow says to you.
I cannot wait to create with you. Keep working, and soon all your desires will come true. And to show that I'm being honest, expect a small gift from me.
As quickly as the shadow appeared, it shrinks back into the headless, limbless mannequin. Your chest raises up and down, and you try to shake yourself out of the spell. You go to your source of comfort, your phone. You received a message from Elijah. Hey you, I'm coming to visit New York in a few days. Want to meet up? You look at the mannequin and imagine your head where its head should be. You respond to Elijah saying yes. Adoration. The summer days are finally starting to cool when you are getting out of the subway to 34th Street. There's a cute little cafe that you saw on social media that you've been wanting to try, and you took meeting with Elijah as an opportunity to show how you know all the latest trends when it comes to where to go. In reality, you only ever frequent the same few places in Manhattan, and they're all places close to your job. But you're excited for the giant croissants they serve, and maybe you can even take a photo of one for social media. When you get to the cafe, you see Elijah already waiting for you. He waves you down with a huge smile as you sit across from him. You see that he has already ordered the giant croissant that you were so excited about, and you wonder if he did some research into the place as well. I couldn't wait, Elijah beams. I had a feeling the chocolate ones would be something you'd like. But maybe I assumed too much, since it's been so long. What do you respond with? No, you're absolutely right. You always did know how to cheer me up. It's really wonderful to see you. You haven't changed a bit. Elijah's smile doesn't fade. Except I saw you're a big hotshot fashion designer now. I always knew you would make it out of Connecticut. He inches his hand closer to yours. Your fingers almost touch. You notice that he's wearing the pink bracelet that says Bestie on his wrist. Do you hold his hand? I tentatively reach out, and when his hand meets mine, we clasp our fingers together as if it is the most natural thing in the world. I'm so proud of all the work that you did, Elijah continues. You've really made a life for yourself here. You're just so inspiring. I really regret how things went with us in high school. I wish I had expressed how I felt towards you instead of chasing after... Oh God, I don't even remember his name anymore. What was the boy's name that Elijah dated in high school, leaving you behind? The boy's name was Cooper. Who cares? We're here together now. Though I'm just a little jelly that you have a new bestie. Is stalking the right word? I guess it is. I was stalking your pictures and I saw Sun. Maybe I can meet her one day. Why are you attracted to Elijah? He exudes calm and confidence, but without any arrogance. His expression is always kind and curious. He seems genuinely interested in other people. And his smile is slightly lopsided in a way that I find irresistible. What colour are his eyes? His eyes are hazel, green at the centre, shifting into golden brown. Elijah tears a part of the croissant, and inside you see flesh pulse with teeth bejewelled against the sinew. Blood spills across the plate and Elijah chuckles. Silly me. He takes a piece of the croissant, dips it into the blood and takes a bite. Wow, you're right to choose this place. It's so good. He tears another piece of the flaky pastry and dips it into the blood. This time, he moves the piece towards your face for you to take a bite. Do you accept or reject the piece? My stomach turns, but I can't tell if it's out of disgust or excitement. I look into his eyes again, and before I realize what I'm doing, I take a bite of the pastry. You notice a glimmer of something on the side of Elijah's mouth. He realizes it too and places a hand on his lip. There's a thin gold chain dangling on the side of his mouth. He pinches the chain between two fingers, and he pulls and pulls, tugging the string out of his throat until he chokes up a small ruby heart locket at the end. He hands you the wet necklace. I love you, Marcos. You throw your chair back as you stand up, and all eyes in the cafe turn to you. No one moves. Instead, they're all smiling. Elijah gets down on one knee. I love you. Suddenly, your audience claps in unison, applauding you. Why is this all too overwhelming? I've wanted this for so long, but it's all happening so fast. I feel like I'm in a dream. I want to wake up. I'm panicking. I can't tell if this is real. You turn away to leave the coffee shop. You need air. You rush down the street looking for someone on your phone to talk to. Anyone. As you do, Jay messages you. Hey, just wanted to say I'm very proud to be your friend. ILY. What do you respond with? Thanks, Jay. I'm proud to be your friend too. Heart. Do you think that Jay is also being manipulated by whatever thing you made a deal with? Jay's never been so frank with his emotions before. It's more than likely the creature has its claws in him too. But perhaps he just really cares about me? Is that so impossible? You run back down the subway stairs and race home as quickly as you can. Mock-up. You're back in your apartment, pacing back and forth in your bedroom, only 10 steps at a time, which is as far as you can go. There's so much rushing through your head right now, and all you can do is worry about what's going on as you walk the length of the room. What are you most worried about? Everything is changing so fast. I deserve to be happy, but if this thing is pulling all the strings, does that make it all meaningless? What does this deal even mean? I have no idea what I've gotten myself into. The pacing and anxiety trigger a memory from your past that you can't shake. A feeling of guilt, shame, and terror churns your guts. What was the worst moment of your childhood? I had a few dolls as a kid, but Vera was my favourite doll. I took her everywhere. I gave her new outfits, I brushed her hair, I told her my secrets. Until one day, I was running through the house, and I knocked over an expensive statue that my mother had bought at an auction. It fell and shattered. She was really angry. In response, she took Vera and threw her in the garbage. I waited until it was dark and grabbed Vera out of the piles of trash. I washed her and hid her under my bed. But even though I got her back, I was too scared to play with her ever again. You attempt to shake off the anxiety and decide to send Ruth Thornton's children an email asking what they know about the sketchbook. What do you write in the email? Hi there. Thank you for hosting the estate sale the other day. I'm so sorry for your loss, but I hope your memories of your mother can bring comfort. I wanted to ask whether you knew anything about the sketchbook I bought from you. It only has one design in it, but it's signed by Patrick A. Andrea. I'm a fashion designer, and I love Andrea's work. If you have any insight you could share, I'd be very grateful. You stop writing and stare at the dress on the mannequin for about 2 minutes, expecting it to speak to you. Your phone startles you as it buzzes. It's Venus.
Hey!
Venus sings.
How's the dress coming along, boo?
You look at the mannequin. It's almost done. You just have the final touch-ups before the mock-up is ready to be tried on. What do you tell Venus? It's coming along really well. I'm excited to hear what you think of it. I just need to make some final adjustments. When it's ready, I'll let you know ASAP.
It's time to continue your work.
A voice trickles out of the mannequin, tickling your ears, itching the back of your brain. A shadow stretches out of the model, forming a pair of wings reaching up towards the ceiling. Long claws reach out of their fingertips towards you. You feel like you should be scared, but you can't help but feel a longing. You want to get close to the thing speaking with you.
It's time for you to reach your true potential, my dear.
The shadow's voice is everywhere, wrapped around you like a wet blanket.
For as long as there have been artists, I have been there for them, but I don't appear before just anyone. I only come forth to those with the most potential. And I can see you are filled with potential.
How do you respond? I'm flattered. But are you sure I'm the one you're looking for? What is it about me that... A knock sounds at the front door. The creature encourages you to answer it. Hey, Marcos, it's Jay. Your downstairs neighbour let me in. I just wanted to check in on you. You open the door to let Jay in and ask if he would like a drink. He responds saying he would like a beer. As you hand him the beverage, you notice something different about him. His eyes. You never noticed their colour before. What colour are his eyes? His eyes are deep brown, with specks of grey. He moves closer to you. Is something wrong? His body. What is attractive about his body? He's slim, but lithe, like a swimmer or a ballet dancer. I haven't noticed how muscular his arms are before. The silence builds a tension between you. His lips part. He places a hand on your shoulder, and he leans in. Closer. Closer. His skin. Why would it make the perfect fabric for a dress? His skin is so soft, so smooth, flushed with excitement. It reeks of youth and promise.
Kill him.
The voice whispers in your head.
You will need his body to complete the piece.
You reach for a kitchen knife, and within moments, Jay's body is lying lifeless on the ground. It all happens so quickly. You start gathering your materials from Jay, as if on autopilot. As you work on your design, what do you think about? Artistic expression.
Say my name.
Your friend whispers into your ear. What is your friend's name? Velvet. They turn your body around, pressing a claw down on your forehead and another against your belly. They clutch you tight, with a wing wrapped around your face, forcing you to shut your eyes and suffocating the air out of you as you groan in delight. Your phone rings. You open your eyes, and your friend has disappeared. You rush to your phone and answer it.
Hey, friend.
It's Sun.
I know things have been a little weird lately, but can we meet up and chat? I'll be at the apartment soon.
You spend the next 20 minutes hiding Jay's body before Sun gets home. Besties in art. After dragging Jay's body into your closet, you do your best to clean the blood off your hands. You sit in the kitchen on one of the bar stools that you and Sun purchased together when you first moved in and cup your hands around a glass of whiskey. Your phone sits on the counter with several notifications pinging you on social media. You're gaining notoriety online as someone who is breaking into the fashion world at a remarkable pace. You wonder if this has anything to do with Venus and her team. Your eyes wander to a mirror on the fridge. It's a magnet with a pink kitsch frame around it that you got for Sun as a joke. On the edge of the frame it says, "I may be full of myself, but I can still self-reflect," in glittery purple letters. Why did you get her that gift? She saw it in a gift shop one day when we were browsing and made a comment that it was one of the tackiest things she had ever seen, but she kind of loved it. When we left the shop, I pretended I had left something behind so I could go back in and buy it for her without her seeing. What good memories does it bring up? She would always find the weirdest, kookiest indie stores in New York, like she had a sixth sense for them. Whenever we went window shopping, she would always point out the most bizarre things for sale, and she always made me laugh with her colour commentary. You move closer to the mirror, and in place of your reflection, you see your winged friend.
I've spent centuries walking this planet. Even when I'm at my weakest, I would never succumb to this kind of junk made by a middle-aged housewife trying to play artist in her spare time. She might be happy with her friends and family, but to live in mediocrity? I would rather perish. Don't you agree?
What do you say to agree with your friend? People are only alive for a short time. We need to make our mark on the world before we die, so that people remember us long after we're gone. Stupid little magnets will never be a lasting legacy.
Maybe one day I'll tell you about the 90s, when I had my human form. That was one of my best times.
The front door opens and Sun steps in, with Brady in her arms. He's in a hospital gown, and his hands are tied, his mouth gagged. He seems to be drifting in and out of consciousness. She drags him into the centre of the apartment and throws him onto the living room carpet that leads into the kitchen. You close the door behind her, hoping that no one saw her bring a body into the apartment. But something tells you no one would call the cops on you. "I know you never liked my relationship partners very much," Sun says, And today, I'm going to prove to you that I care about our friendship more than anything else. There is no one that can come between us and your art. Sun pulls an ornate, gold-hilted knife from her purse. She hands it over, with the hilt pointed towards you. She is clutching the blade so hard that blood is trickling down from her palm. What you are about to create is more important than any relationship. Sun looks at you with wide eyes.
It's time.
You hear your winged friend chime in.
This will be the final part of the piece you need to finish the dress.
You see Brady slowly stir awake. What annoying moment with Brady are you reminded of? That time he fell asleep during a performance of A Doll's House, and when he woke up, tried to hide that fact from Sun, who had been enraptured by the play. Where do you stab Brady? In his gut. As you plunge down the blade, Sun rushes into your room and gathers sewing kits, fabrics, and scissors. She sets the tools next to you, as if you're playing doctor, ready for you to create your masterpiece. What part of the body do you think would look good on your piece? His lips. Now they can't speak anymore. I can appreciate what a nice shape they are. As you plan out the next part of the dress, Sun places a hand on your shoulder. You should start getting ready for Fashion Week. You thank Sun, collecting everything that you need and placing the materials in a garment bag before making your way to your office. Fashion Week. The office is quiet as your co-workers watch you lay your materials around you, awaiting Venus's appearance. You are working in the middle of the office space. The skylight grants its sunrise down upon you, like the blessed genius that you are. Everyone is standing around you, waiting on your needs. The creative director approaches you. We are honored to have your presence here with us. Please use the company's resources as you wish. What are your demands of your assistants? I'd love an iced latte. Could you grab one for me, please, Kate? Oh, and Daniel, could you please fold the spare fabric for me? I'm not the neatest, so it would be nice to have some help with that. The employees scatter around you like cockroaches exposed to the light as they tend to your asks. Your friend stands in the corner of the room, replacing your reflection in the mirror, their arms crossed, waiting for you to decide on the final touches for your creation. An assistant brings you a tote bag made of flesh. There's an ear with an olive branch tattoo painted on its skin. Is this?
Xander.
Your friend confirms.
I think you will find him to be very useful from now on.
What else do you find in the human tote bag? A gold ring, encrusted with diamonds. Cartier. It has words engraved on the inside. Knock 'em dead. Love, Velvet.
Once you complete the piece, you will come into full power.
Your friend says.
And I will finally be by your side, watching you flourish into a new world where you will reign over the fashion industry.
You take one last look at your phone, and you see that the Thornton children have emailed you back. Dear Marcos, we have seen you do so well in the fashion circuit. Congratulations. As far as we know, that sketchbook is an old relic that our mother purchased from Patrick A. Andrea's own estate sale when he passed. She had always been a patron of the arts, but never an artist herself. We did a little bit of digging through some old paperwork and found a journal stating that she bought the sketchbook, believing it to be blessed by an angel, and it granted Andrea the vision to create his final design, but no such blessing ever came to her. We don't believe the design was ever mocked up either. Hope you have had better luck. A text message chimes as you mark your email read. It's from Mother. Maybe the Aubert name is better suited for fashion, after all. Does Mother deserve your attention? I don't know. Has Velvet's influence reached her too? Does her approval mean anything when it's caused by that thing? Do I even need it? But it does feel good. Your attention is taken away as you hear the ding of the elevator doors open and Venus steps through with her entourage. She walks directly to you and stands on the pedestal where light pours onto her. She is ready for you to dress her. As you dress Venus, what do you think about? How I want to be myself again. You sew the final piece of fabric onto Venus, and it disappears into the dress, melting onto her abdomen. The flourish of the textiles curl into Venus's flesh, spreading across the surface of her skin and attaching itself to the tips of her fingernails. Venus spreads her arms, allowing her new skin to breathe, releasing a set of bat wings out from her back. The wings cover her face, with the patagium pressing against it like latex. You see the imprint of Venus stretch with her mouth open, unclear whether she's writhing in pain or pleasure. When the wings peel away, Venus's face is no longer there. In its place, a skeletal form with crystal and muscular tissue lining gluing it all together. Remnants of her skin drip down onto the floor as you see that the rest of her body is the same elegant combination of crystal, flesh, bone, and fabric. You feel your eyes welling up, as if seeing the birth of your child. Describe what you feel when you see your masterpiece. It's beautiful and hideous. An utter nightmare. My stomach writhes as I feel the urge to vomit. How the hell did I make this? How did I let things go this far? But I can't deny that it's mesmerizing. What memory is triggered from looking at your work? I remember the first time I tried to make a dress at the tailor's shop. I got the pattern completely muddled, and it ended up a tangled mess. The tailor smiled and told me that it takes practice, and I shouldn't be discouraged.
I have more to give you,
your winged friend says.
But first, she must walk the runway.
Metamorphosis. The lights are dimmed, and you can see guests shuffling into their seats. You recognize some of them as members of the press, others as influencers and celebrities who have been invited to the show, and some others who bought their way into getting front row seats. A few more seated in the back are fashion wannabes who want to feel cool and popular, or who are interested in the experience and have managed to score tickets. But who are you to judge who comes to your show? This is fashion for everyone. But there are two people who stand out in the show. Your mother and father. They look distant, yet their gaze is softer than the look you remember them ever giving you growing up. They're not looking at their phones. They're not speaking with anyone else. They are waiting for your show, fully present. How does their appearance in the audience make you feel? The initial stab of elation quickly gives way to a deep, queasy ache. They aren't here of their own volition. It's velvet spell. It doesn't mean anything. You notice the directors of imprint whispering to one another with hard looks, a contrast to your parents. They look like they are discussing something. The future of the company? Your future? What do you think they're talking about? They keep glancing over at me. They look intense, but excited. I can almost imagine dollar signs in their eyes. They're probably coming up with the best way they can use me to make a ton of money. The murmur of gossip and chatter is silenced when the lights go out and the runway lights blast on. A slow trickle of an ominous movie soundtrack filters into the venue. What's the movie that this soundtrack is taken from? Devil's Advocate. You look at the reactions of people seated close to the front rows when the models make their way down the catwalk around a large metal box on the centre stage. All your old pieces that never saw the light of day because you were too scared of what the world might think can finally get a glimpse of the outside world. What is the theme of this fashion line? Becoming your true self. Bursting out of sepia into technicolor. Like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Rejecting the beige, boring world of societal expectation and letting your weirdness take the spotlight. What do you think the crowd is talking about? They look fascinated. They're probably talking about their favourite details. Or how much they're inspired. But it's all hollow. As the models end their walk, the lights dim slightly, and a spotlight shines on the centre of the stage, getting ready for the showstopper finale. The metal box opens its sides to reveal what was once Venus. The elegance of the piece garners gasps from the crowd as the creature stands still in the centre. Describe your dress. It's a kaleidoscope of beauty and horror. Lavish fabric gives way to rent flesh perfectly sculpted to show off the human form. The dress flows behind Venus like a wedding train, sending flecks of light from hundreds of beads and crystals bouncing around the room. The smell of death is overpowering as sinew overlaps with satin. Venus starts to sway gently, rocking until she is swinging her arms, dancing and moving like she's been possessed, with sudden interspersed grasps at the air. When she is finished, the crowd breaks into applause, cheering for what they just experienced. Now it's your turn to take the stage. You walk onto the stage with the models, many of them giving you hugs and warm congratulations. As the models part, allowing you to take your bow, you take a glance at one of the metal sides of the box that housed Venus's new body. You see the creature's reflection and they smile.
Won't you let me in?
You turn and see your parents clapping in unison. We are so proud of you, son. This doesn't feel right. This isn't real. You look around and hear the hushed whispers of celebrity and wealth. All eyes on you. You feel sick to your stomach. You pull one metal side of the box off its hinges and throw it into the audience, rejecting the deal that you made with the creature. You no longer need them. What do you hear the audience say as you step down from the stage? What? Why is he leaving? Is this some kind of stunt? He'll be back, right? What do you see as you leave the runway behind? I see my parents' faces, confused, distraught. Their eyes follow me as I walk, stride, run out of the room. Finale. A week passes, and you're looking back at how much your life has changed. Do you still work at Imprint? I resigned from Imprint. Did Xander survive? Xander is officially missing. There's an ongoing investigation, but I don't think the police are going to find anything. Did Sun survive? Sun made it out of this alive. When she properly realized what we'd done to Brady, what I'd done, she was in shock. I tried to explain, but she's going to need some time to process everything. So am I. I don't know if she'll ever forgive me. Did Brady survive? Brady died in our apartment. The evidence against me and Son is pretty damning. Whatever protections Velvet had on us, if they ever existed, are gone. I keep remembering what it felt like as I stabbed him. What is your relationship like with Elijah now? Elijah and I haven't spoken since we met at the cafe. I don't think I'll ever see him again. Do you still think about Jay? I still think about Jay all the time. Sometimes I wake up at night, convinced that he's in the room with me, but he's never there. If you chose to break the deal with your demon friend, what happens to you and your career? I've been arrested for Brady and Jay's murders. There was a flurry of press coverage just after the arrest, but it seems like the fashion industry is ready to forget all about me, to wipe me from the records, as if I never existed. Fair enough, I guess. As I sit in this cell, waiting for trial, I keep wishing that I hadn't taken that deal, that I'd been able to resist. But I can't change the past. I have to live with this for the rest of my life. That's the end of my playthrough of Knockoff by Banana-chan. If you want to support the game on BackerKit or learn more about Banana-chan's brilliant work, there are links in the show notes. Thank you for listening to this episode of A Game of One's Own. Our theme music, as always, is by James Barbarossa, and this week's episode also included music by Kevin MacLeod. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/NaziTapier for all the bonus goodies. You can follow the show on social media at A Game of One's Own, and find out more about my work at snazzytapier.com or at Maddy is Abstract on social media. See you next time for more weird stories.